Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Kraus on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. A warm feeling in the room, although a cold wind and a cold temperature outside. We have with us an individual who I'm not only impressed with as a financial leader and a financial advisor, but just a gentleman that contributed so much to City of Murfreesboro when he sat on the city council. But just an all-around great guy, Ronnie Martin.
Good morning, Dr. Kraus.
Good
Thanks for the invitation.
Ronnie. You know, no matter what you do when you were on the council as your leadership role within Pinnacle, Rutherford County, you do so much, and there's just a certain attitude and feeling that you share, and that we totally appreciate.
Thank you.
And I'm going to let you introduce your newest person on your team. Longtime banker within Rutherford County, but a lady who you say has a special story.
Yeah, she is a special person.
So I'll let you introduce. I do have to say
Courtney's
this.
trying to figure out what that story is as we're talking here.
Well, the thing is, she was going to go into law.
Yep.
And with the name Courtney.
Yeah, right.
I thought there's got to be some relationship.
Yeah, right.
But she didn't go into law, and she's now
I'm thankful for that.
part of your financial team. So would you like to introduce Courtney?
Yeah, thank you so much. Glad to be here. Excited to be in the studio with you, and really appreciate the invitation. So, I can't recall exactly how Courtney and I met. I was thinking about that this morning, but certainly being a banker in Rutherford County, bankers cross paths with people,
Sure.
other bankers all the time, and just really liked her energy, liked her smile, liked how she went about doing business. And when I came to Pinnacle, she was here, so Courtney was here before I was, and had the opportunity to work with some clients, attend some bank functions together, be in some meetings together, and just really enjoyed my time with her. And so, as we start looking around inside the firm for talent, and we're talking about retirements and sort of backfilling, folks that go places. Courtney's name was at the top of that list in terms of really someone we felt like that was underutilized in the role that she was in, that could continue to grow and had a lot to offer clients in a more direct commercial advisory role. And so, anyway, I'll let Courtney talk a little bit about herself, about how she came to Pinnacle and her background. And
born where? She's a local.
That's right.
Schooled where, a local, and yet she's been in the banking industry. You must have started at 5 years old, right?
Absolutely, you are correct.
But you were born in Nashville.
Born and raised in Nashville. Went to John Overton High School.
Beautiful Oak Hill on Franklin Road.
Yeah.
That's right. Graduated in 2000 and then made my way to MTSU, where I started my studies. It was a pre-law focus, and then I was determined to come out of school debt-free. So I first had a job I grand opened the Marshalls here at the Oak Shopping Center. I was their cash office associate, so I managed all the cash that came in. And so that's how I got introduced to banking, because I would go to the bank constantly. And then someone said, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing banking?" I was like, "No, that's not for me." And then that way I kind of took a turn to entrepreneurship and joined my best friend in a small business, and realized that I needed a banker that could demystify some things to help me prevent mistakes. And so we sold that business, and then I joined into banking. And then,
And when you talked about needed a banker, I'll say this one of many, many compliments of Pinnacle. No matter who you call, they return their phone calls, or they return the emails in a very speedy manner. And you kind of say, well, that's to be assumed, but believe it or not, assumption is not always the case in today's business.
You're absolutely correct.
And you've been with Pinnacle how long?
Going on 7 years this year.
Wow. And they always say 7 years, good luck.
I mean, yeah,
Not that you
I'm on
broke a
Ronnie's
mirror.
team now, so.
Yeah.
And
Very excited to have her.
What is Courtney? Well, I've got to ask this. I am not assuming that Courtney's advancement into your team has anything to do with the recent consolidation that Pinnacle has, making it the biggest bank in Tennessee.
Yeah, yes, sir.
But has that had major change on personnel allocation within our local area?
Yeah, and I'd love to talk about the merger a little bit because I think we've got a great story to tell there.
Yes.
But, Courtney came because our client advisory team, which is my responsibility to lead in Rutherford County for Pinnacle, is really our commercial banking team in more common nomenclature, if you will. And, Courtney had great success managing an office and leading a group of people. And when you start thinking about retirements, because Pinnacle has very little turnover because of who we are as a company and the culture that we have. We have a very high retention rate of our associates. But Courtney was just the obvious choice in my mind. If you work with her and you go on visits with clients with her and hear her talk and hear her give advice and how she does it and how she treats people, she was just a really, really natural fit.
Was she in more commercial or just straight banking?
I've done both.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but my role in Pinnacle for the past 6 years before I joined Ronnie's team was leading a group of bankers in our Medical Center Parkway office.
Oh, okay.
That essentially, I call it the general practitioners of banking, where you can walk in and get the general advice. And but I had prior years of experience of doing small business and commercial banking.
And you could do it from your own perspective of being a client once upon a time.
That's true.
right. Yeah.
That's true.
And if you were to pick up 3 things that make you and your colleagues within Pinnacle doing the same thing, serving small businesses, what 3 things would you say are primary passion, objectives, and successes to be measured?
Well, I think what I love the most about my colleagues at Pinnacle is we lead with integrity and soul. Mm-hmm. We have a care for our community and a servant's heart. Yes. So those are the things that I admire most about the people I get to link arms with every day, knowing that no matter if they walk into an office in Smyrna or Franklin, I know my clients are in good hands, and we all have the same shared values.
Yeah, that's great.
I wish somebody could bottle up, and I've got to define this, and I certainly do not have this as a negative meaning to your competition. But what is it when I walk into a Pinnacle branch is something so different? I can't put my finger on describing the environment and atmosphere, and not just a formal somebody walks through the door, good morning, welcome to the bank. Something more than that. I think I now figure out what it is. When I see people at Pinnacle, they're smiling.
Yeah.
Now, why are they smiling? Do they know something I don't know? Or is it that the interest rate's going to take a major shift in the next 35 minutes,
right,
which I didn't know in a renewal of a CD or what have you? But there's a happiness, but yet there's a professional happiness. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with a professional, but they are human beings. I don't say, gee, I know this individual, he's my banker. No, this individual's my friend who also banks.
Yes, yeah.
What do you see Courtney doing now on her newest assignment with Pinnacle on her 7th year?
So her primary responsibility will be cultivating clients, serving clients, advising clients. I mean, that's what we do in our client advisory group. And, Courtney brings a tremendous amount of experience. But you heard a little bit of this in her response to your previous question. She very much cares about people, and
yes,
she cares about how she does the job. And you asked, what is that special thing about coming into a Pinnacle office where you see people smiling and they seem, happy to be. Courtney is a part of that solution, just the way I try to be a part of that solution, in the sense that we're very much a values-based organization. And so, we exist to make a profit. I mean, that's part of what we do. That's what pays the salaries, and that's what does that. But we exist beyond that, and Pinnacle does a really good job talking about and reinforcing those values that are very important to creating what we refer to as associate engagement, in terms of creating a place that is a really good place for everyone to work. And so, all of us have worked places, whether it be in banking or in something else in our lives, where if you didn't lead with those values, and if you weren't trying to create a great place to work, well, sometimes you get associates that aren't giving great service, and they're not exactly happy to be at work to serve others. And so we know part of the special sauce, secret sauce in our firm is we know that you got to take care of people. It starts with taking care of associates, for making them feel valued and creating a place that everybody really enjoys to work. And then you kind of turn them loose and get out of their way. And if you're hiring right, and we've got a very specific hiring model that we use, you put the right people in a place to be successful, and you take great care of them. You pay them fairly. You treat them well. They're not ever going anywhere, and it's why Pinnacle has such a great retention rate.
I do have to do a shout out, Ronnie, and the shout out is I do a lot of, as you know, real estate work, but I think the biggest shout out to this one employee is when I introduced to Pinnacle this couple. And he is expanding his business, and he needed business assistance, financial assistance, and so forth. And I've had this kind of experience over many, many years, but I've never experienced such a personal, hands-on, caring love. I'm going to use the term love of the client than Stacy Wilder.
Yeah.
And Stacy, with this one particular individual I'm talking about, went not the extra mile, but the extra 10 miles, 50 miles, and what have you.
Right.
And I have to do a shout out to Stacy, because I think Stacy reflects what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really have to kind of say thank you.
Yeah.
And this couple, and she's in business and he's in business, and they are going to be very successful. I know they are. And thank you for Stacy and for Pinnacle being there as their support.
It is our pleasure, and there's several things I might comment on, but I don't want to steal the show. But I will say that what a lot of people don't know about Bill Kraus is the opportunities that he provides other people that he doesn't talk about. And so, you bring us on that journey with you and allow us to partner and serve others. But you have a servant's heart, in the sense that you care about people and you lift people up, and you do a lot to serve people that you don't ever get credit for. And so, to your point, thank you for letting us go on that journey with you. Thank you for letting Stacy be a part of that. She's exceptional, and she's a new member on our team as well. And it's hard. Courtney has been a leader in her role for a long, long time. And so I was really excited to have Courtney join our team, just like I was excited to have Stacy join our team. But to get that like-mindedness of a values-based, delivery of a client experience and taking care of the people that we serve. But it's really even nicer to be able to know that we're having that opportunity because of great people like you that put people in front of us.
Well, wearing an earlier hat of your life, being a city councilman from Murfreesboro, the city manager has also the responsibility of providing quality service.
Right.
But they're the ones that generally have to say no to the citizen, or the city council, or the mayor can say yes to the citizen.
Right. Yeah.
I always remember when I interviewed for one of my city manager positions, the mayor said, you've got to write the negative letters. I get to write the positive letters.
Right.
And never forget that.
Yes.
And I said, but I've got to be doing it in a positive help situation rather than a bureaucratic process. I do also have to do a shout out to Mindy.
Yeah.
We talk about people like Stacy, and certainly people like Courtney, and yet it's the troops in the front lines that are right there doing the same thing. So, Mindy, right there in your team,
Absolutely.
just super, super young lady.
She does a great job, and of course, Mindy's role, and I'll let Courtney talk about Scott, who works very, very closely with Courtney in the same capacity. But
I don't know if I met Scott yet.
you've not, but you will.
Okay.
And so Scott serves very much in the same role that Mindy does, but in our system, our delivery system, in terms of what we do with clients. People like Mindy, people like Scott, they are really the foundation that the rest of us stand on in terms of being able to serve clients. And so, Courtney goes out in the field and she's calling on clients and she's going wherever she is needed. And you can't do that if you don't have great support, back at the office. So talk a little bit about Scott and your relationship with him and what he does.
Let's hear from Courtney in her newest role.
Yes. Well, hello, Scott. I know you're listening. So Scott Smith and I have worked together for over 13 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In other banks.
At another financial.
No name to be mentioned.
No name to be mentioned.
Sure.
But grateful that our paths crossed 13 years ago. We formed a partnership in taking care of our clients. We both have the same shared values of, making banking approachable for all clients, making it fun, I would dare say.
Yeah. It shows.
So he also came with me when I joined the firm almost 7 years ago when we opened Medical Center Parkway together. Mm-hmm. And so we have developed this trust in each other that honestly is irreplaceable in my life. It crosses professional boundaries. It's a friendship. And we just enjoy taking care of clients. We're both people persons. We both love to do the right thing for our client. We don't like rework. We like to get it done right the first time. And
it's not easy.
No.
What the federal government requires in forms, applications, and process would drive anybody.
Right. But we make sure our clients don't feel that.
I've got to give you a new label.
Okay.
I always like to come with labels. I don't consider you as my banker. I consider you as my financial friends. And if you really think about your financial friends,
I love
and
that.
so forth.
Yeah.
And that's not just throwing out names. That's just not throwing out roles. When you go to a client, I guess I could probably ask you, are they cold calls or are they... you knock on the door and say, I'm your friendly Pinnacle assistant, Pinnacle friend. People look in today's service industry, and whether it's dealing with your financial friend or dealing with your auto mechanic or dealing with a doctor, an attorney, it's scary out there in terms of what you have to deal with. And I just met Courtney for the first time a few minutes ago. And Courtney's smile, for example, you walk in the door and, I'm Courtney, and here I am, and I'm to be your new friend.
Right.
Do you particularly target any type of business, or is it new business, stable business, business in trouble, business wanting to expand but don't have the resources to expand? I'm assuming all of the above.
Well, I think what's beautiful about the Pinnacle model is we hire experienced bankers, right? The minimum years of experience is 10 years of experience. The average tenure for a Pinnacle advisor is 22 years in the industry.
Wow.
And so with that comes the great privilege of having bankers who have a book of business of clients that they've supported, outside of our firm. And just as we recruit the best bankers recruit the best clients.
Yes.
And so that's how we go to business.
That's great.
On the other hand, and it's so important to say, and you certainly addressed it a moment ago, once they join you, they stay with you. I can recall a lot of years ago an insurance person that I did business with. About every 3 months, it seemed like, he was associated with a new company. So I said, how often do I have to move to follow you around? The fourth time to refill applicant and the client papers and what have you. I said, I have great confidence in you, but do you have great confidence in who you work for?
Right. Yeah.
Talk about the new relationship, the new merger. Started January 1st, technically?
Yes, legal day one was January 1st. And, we're really, really excited about it. And there are several reasons why. And anytime you have a merger of companies, you're integrating people who don't know each other well.
Right.
And there's uncertainty in that process for everybody. And so in this situation with the Pinnacle Synovus merger, and of course Pinnacle's name survived that, but we feel like that the Synovus brand and franchise was a really good complement to what we were already doing, and there are a couple of specific reasons. A lot of times when banks merge, there's tremendous overlap in the markets they serve, and so in our case, there's very, very little overlap in that. So Synovus, for the listeners that do not know, very strong in Florida, very strong in
the Carolinas, aren't they?
Carolinas
Yes.
and Georgia. And so they've really got a dominant market share in those places. Pinnacle, very strong in Tennessee, the largest bank and largest market share in a Tennessee market. And so we're doing really, really well, especially in Davidson and Rutherford County there, but throughout the state, as we continue to expand. But the really, really nice thing is that Synovus, as they fold into our Pinnacle operating model, which is really something that we think is going to allow us to mine opportunity inside the Synovus franchise. And what I mean by that is Pinnacle uses a geographic operating model where we say, hey, we hire experienced bankers, like Courtney said. We put them in markets that they know, where they're very plugged in and know the community. And we really trust them because of their experience to make local decisions. That's really different than a lot of really large $100 billion banks operate, where they operate these line of businesses where they say, you can accept a check when it comes in or cash a check, but we're really going to leave the decision making to someone else that may not even be in your market, that may not really even know you or know your business, but just knows that business, if you will. And so we believe that there are always some cost-saving measures that take place, and so you never want to be insensitive about those people who are affected by that. But by and large, we feel like there's going to be huge upside for the people inside the combined firm. And Dr. Kraus, it's going to be an 8,000-person firm with offices in 9 states, the kind of the largest banking franchise in the Southeast. And we believe in that model because of how we hire, because of the experience level of the people that we hire, and really the freedom to operate like independent local decision makers. We think that's what sets us apart. And the key to that is having people like Courtney and having people like Stacy who are experienced, who, again, lead a values-based approach in terms of how they do business, and they know how to do it.
Would I be out of order to ask most people within Pinnacle in Tennessee, and more specifically in Rutherford County, neighboring counties, did not have to fear closing of branches, closing of offices?
Not at all.
Elimination of that. Usually when you talk about merger acquisition, first thing is how many people are going to get the pink slip. And
in our model, again, I think we had about a 6% cost reduction. In that there are
very little duplication.
There is not. I mean, you have those accounting, HR, IT functions where there's going to be some overlap, and so some of the synergies of a merger have to be carved out of those places. And so, you also have, if you just rip the Band-Aid off and you do all that in a 6-month period, well, that can be harmful to the organization. Well, that's really not who Pinnacle is. And so part of what they're doing is they're phasing those changes in over a few-year period. So there's some that have happened this year, there's some that happen next year. And as you know, there is natural attrition and natural turnover that takes place in some of those things. Some people opt out of, hey, my opportunity may be different or better somewhere else if we do that in those specific areas. But for client-facing associates, and that's what I do, and that's what Courtney does, and Stacy does, and that's what most of the people in the offices do that work directly with clients, There's been none of that up to this point. And part of that is it's not because we don't have offices that might be across the street from each other. It's because of who is in those offices.
Yes.
It's because of who we have hired in those offices. And we need those people. And not only do we need those people, we need more of those people. And so, that model that Pinnacle runs is based on attracting good talent, the right talent, and we want as many good bankers in the marketplace as we can find that line up with those values, want to serve clients, and want to get on board with us.
It's interesting. You're about 3 years too late for me on this one, but it certainly reflects 3-4 years ago maybe, acquiring a piece of property in Pensacola, Florida. And I've got to tell you that to finance a property in Florida as an unknown quantity was a miserable experience with a capital M. And, if I take a look today, that if I were acquiring a piece of property in Florida, which I have no intention of doing, I could now call Pinnacle, and Pinnacle's linkage and relationship with people within Florida would totally have made it a much, much easier point. I remember this was kind of a time-desperate situation where there was a lady who was living in Murfreesboro, worked for MTSU for many, many years, and went through a very nasty family situation and left quite quickly to Pensacola to be near her parents. And the question was, she needed housing immediately. So we were on a real tight time frame to find something, close it, funding, and so forth and so on. And we got stuck with a financial institution that even 3 years ago was charging 9.2% on the mortgage.
Wow.
And when we were doing 3.6 or 3.8 here, and it was under desperation that we had to do it because nobody else was funding. But here's a partnership that you have now been part of, that for those in the Tennessee area, those in Middle Tennessee who have any relationship, it wouldn't have been as difficult in Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, and so forth. But Florida is a very difficult place to deal with.
Right.
Not only in banking, but in property insurance with the things that they've had experience with hurricanes, etc., or condominiums collapsing and what have you. We're having a delightful visit with a dear, dear friend, a wonderful individual, Ronnie Martin, who is one of the leaderships in Pinnacle Bank out of Rutherford County, and his newest member of the team, Courtney Chavez, who I want to hear more what Courtney's plans are in terms of reaching out to the people here, but we need to take a word or two from those that pay the bills.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
I've been helping people from Murfreesboro for over 30 years and spent a lot of time there over the years.
We love Murfreesboro. We have lots of friends down there. We've partnered with Middle Tennessee State.
And we found more and more people asking for our services, and at some point it just made sense to open up an office there for the convenience of the citizens of the community and the surrounding areas.
We wanted to actually physically be present there and not just going there a lot.
Sign-ups are going on right now for First Shot's Winter Basketball League in Rutherford County. Coach Andy Herzer guides kids to sharpen basketball skills and build teamwork through exciting clinics and games. Since 2003, First Shot has empowered youth to grow in mind, spirit, and body. Don't miss out. Join the fun and develop lifelong skills. Visit firstshottn.org today and register for the Winter Basketball League. That's firstshottn.org.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris, the County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people, so we educate them. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by Americare Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The Music Man is coming to the Arts Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury. It's a week away, January the 23rd through February 7th. Don't miss the Music Man. The Smyrna Lions Club is having a Sweetheart Dance on Saturday, February the 14th at the Smyrna Events Center. Not only does it include a dance, but a delicious dinner. That's the Smyrna Lions Club's Casino Royale Roulette and Romance, a Sweetheart Dance, at the Smyrna Event Center on the Sam Ridley Parkway in Smyrna. Single tickets are $100 or $180 per couple, and that includes the dinner. There's a free grief support group meeting every Wednesday morning at 10 at the St. Clair Senior Center. That's at 325 St. Clair Street, here in Murfreesboro. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life at the Red Cross. Phone 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
Skies become mostly sunny here this afternoon with a high in the mid-30s. Tonight, increasing cloud cover with a low around 20. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center. Currently, it's 26.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Through Sharing Change, MTE members round up their bills to support local nonprofits. Find out more how your spare change can make a difference at sharingchange.org.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Kraus back again on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. A rather cold morning, but we are in wintertime, January. Even a slight look of snow on the ground, or certainly up in the plateau. We're having a Thursday morning visit with a dear friend and certainly a poster boy is the best way I can describe it, for the banking and financial industry, Ronnie Martin, and the newest member of his team serving Rutherford County and beyond, Courtney Chavez, who was with us. Yes. Great. I'm going to put Ronnie on the spot.
Okay.
Can I put you on the spot?
Yes, sir. Always.
Brian and I were talking before. I think the two of us are saying, hopefully you might take out papers.
Oh, no, sir. I'm not going to do that.
No.
Yeah.
For the city council.
No.
You are missed dearly on our Murfreesboro City Council.
You're very kind. We've got good people there that, that are vested in that. And, with what we're planning at Pinnacle for the next few years, my time is more needed there than it is on the city council. And we got great people there. I enjoyed my service. And
you did a great job.
I appreciate that. I'm not going to say I won't ever do that again.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
never say never.
Yeah, you never do that because circumstances change, situations change all the time. But, I've got a very important job. I want to be available and be supportive of Courtney and others in the client advisory group to make sure that we are successful as we've got a couple of retirements coming up this year. We had some last year for folks that have really done an amazing job helping build the franchise, the Pinnacle franchise in this market. And, it's important to me that we continue that storied success. Pinnacle, we've got a 28% market share dominance in this market, and that's hard to do, and that only happens because you have good people and you have a lot of them. And so recruitment is something that is a big part of what I do. It's part of the reason Courtney's here. And, we didn't talk about this, but Courtney told me no the first time I tried to bring her to the client advisory group. She did.
But you never take
we're just
a no.
putting everyone on the spot, aren't we? Okay.
You never take a no.
And so what I figured out is, she talked a little bit about her partnership with Scott. So I had to figure out a way to get them both there at the same time. And then I got a yes. That's exactly right. So
wow. Can I ask you, Courtney, why you said no?
Well...
You don't have to do that. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Well, I think oftentimes when I reflect on the reason why I said no, so a little bit about how I came to Pinnacle.
Sure.
So I was recruited by our area manager and Stephanie Cush, who asked me to lead an office that hadn't even been built yet on Medical Center Parkway. Just a piece of raw land. Yeah. And so I started, I was an office of one, and then COVID happened. Wow. Scott was the first person to join my team. And it was just me and him waiting.
And you knew Scott from a previous.
Correct. Yes. We had previous work history together, and we worked together while everything in the world was on pause to start encouraging clients who have been our raving fans and we're raving fans of theirs as well to come join Pinnacle. And so through the years of building that office to opening the doors through COVID, there is a sense of attachment and ownership to that team, to the clients. I started at zero clients in the middle of COVID and built a successful book of business in that office. So that was hard for me to tip the hat to and start a new journey. So I think that was the original reason why it was no, but he planted a seed. And what I appreciate about Ronnie's leadership is he sees the bigger picture in not only in business, but also in his talent that surrounds him.
And in life
itself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I believe he saw something in me I hadn't quite seen yet. And just in the short tenure that we have worked together, I have grown a lot under his leadership. So I'm glad he asked again.
It's kind of interesting, and I'm not trying to get on the wrong side of all other banks that are very active and serve in Rutherford County, but you're not a competitor. You stand way different in the banking industry than if somebody is in business and somebody is looking at their banking connections, banking relationships. You're not in the bidding process in the point of saying, well, what can you do better than Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C? You stand totally alone in terms of who you are. I guess I could probably say in a more subjective manner than normally I would like to say, you're not a traditional banking relationship. Mm-hmm. You're not there to say, well, you need an auto loan, we can do this for you. You need a home equity loan, we can do this for you. You need a plastic card, a credit card.
Right.
Yes, you do provide the same level of services. But what is it? I'm going to put both of you on the question. What is it? What is that special formula? What is that special chemistry that has you stand above everybody else?
You go.
No, you go.
Well, I'll start, and then I'll let Courtney color in the lines. And so I think what you have to do is you have to go back to the architect of the institution and the way it was built out, right? So how was Pinnacle constructed to go to market? What was that designed to look like, and the intentionality behind it? So often when a bank gets created, usually that either comes from the nexus of you've got local investors that want to start a community bank to kind of serve the local market. In our case, specifically with Pinnacle, you had Terry Turner, Rob McCabe, and a handful of other people that were very well respected in the business, who had great success. And I think they were somewhere around my age, 50, in their 50s when they started doing this, because they're close to their mid-70s now. But it was, hey, we've done well, but that's not good enough. What we have been experiencing is not good enough. We're going to do this and take all the things we've learned and try to really build it around people knowing that the people that we build it around will then go and serve other people. And so, it wasn't just about banking. It was about going back to creating a really good bank that would really not just have success, but to dominate the market. So it was designed to dominate the market, but it was designed to do that through people, right? And so find the right people, treat them well, serve them, and make it a good place, a fun place to serve other people, and everybody wins. And so I'll kick it to you there. I mean, how does that sound?
That sounds right, Ronnie.
Yeah.
No, I think Ronnie mentioned earlier, we are a values-driven organization. Our associates all, how to be recruited, not only have to have that experience, but have to say, you know what, I worked with a Scott Smith for 7 years, and I know his character, and I know how he treats clients, and it aligns with our values-based organization. And so not only do you have to have the experience, you also have the endorsement of the well-respected bankers that are already within the firm. So when you have those people linking arms that have those shared values, that want to create a better and elevated and distinct experience for clients, but also we do the same for each other.
Right.
We create that work environment where I can trust Ronnie. We can have these difficult conversations and still come out of it friends, right? But ultimately the goal is to elevate the client experience. We don't want our clients coming in, getting, an experience from a brand new banker. You deserve better than that. You deserve an experienced, values-based banker, giving you effective advice, not just a transaction, to be that friend and also banker for life.
And one step further, you look for the very best in people that you're going to deal with. And you may be looking at a brand new client, and you're not necessarily, maybe I'm wrong on this assumption, but you're not necessarily just looking at their financial statement, their income and expenditure. You're looking at their dreams, you're looking at their goals, you're looking at their hopes, you're looking at their aspirations. So you're looking at the best of the person you deal with. And that's not common in today's fierce market. What year did Pinnacle start? Do you recall?
It's 2020.
We celebrated our 25-year anniversary last year.
Why I say that is, and this is kind of an interesting observation, Pinnacle started in Middle Tennessee, am I right?
That's correct, Nashville, Tennessee.
At the time that Nashville and Middle Tennessee was shifting from another traditional southern city, going through its ups and downs, to becoming a world-class, national competitive community.
Sure.
And you had the strategy, and it certainly was on the business plan, at least as I recall, at the beginning, that you are now no longer just dealing with people who have been in the area all their lives and doing business with a handshake and so forth. You kept doing business with a handshake, but you were dealing with people coming in from throughout the country as well as throughout the world to expand or create in Middle Tennessee. And I think you were one of the first, and I think you have never deviated or varied from that role. And I think that's where Pinnacle stands out, that it's able to combine the friendliness and traditions of the local community as it's been for many, many years with the dynamic competitiveness, global competitiveness that we are experiencing and have experienced for the last 25 years.
It's so really interesting. I had the opportunity to work for a startup bank when, Mid-South Bank organized, Franklin Synergy purchased that bank, and First Bank, purchased Franklin Synergy. And so if you've had an opportunity to work in a really small shop, so to speak, and you look at what Pinnacle has done from the standpoint of in the 25 years of its existence, what have they accomplished and how have they done it? In the last 2 years, I've had at least two conversations related to a new startup bank, right? And so somebody said, hey, look, is the market, ready for this with all the bank consolidations and all the disruption in the market? Is the time right to start a new bank? And, in both of those conversations, I was like, why would you do that? Why would you take the risk to do that? And more importantly, and this is something that, I have learned and that has grown me being inside the institution, of how are you going to beat Pinnacle? I mean, how are you going to compete with them?
We're going to do better than they do.
Because the truth is, if you built it, you would build it just the way they built it. I mean, it's the right way to build it. And so, and with respect to all of our friends who work at other local institutions, I'm not beating up on them. But I will tell you, for those of us, I've worked at 6 different banks, and a lot of those other banks are in this market.
You're almost like that insurance man I talked about. So, Ronnie, who are you with today?
I'm pretty sure I'm where I'm going to be now forever.
I understand. You've been with Pinnacle how long?
6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 years.
Okay.
And don't read into this, but I've averaged about 7 years everywhere I've been, and then I've gone somewhere else.
Well, just take out those papers one of those days.
But the point is, when you think about what makes a community bank and what makes it good, and you think about what makes a regional bank and what makes it good, and what are the best of all those things. That's exactly what Pinnacle is. We have a geographic operating model that empowers our associates to make decisions, what we call at the line of scrimmage. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to get approval for something that just makes sense. You just do it. And you think about that, overlapping that culture in some of the really large institutions in town. You can't do that. We've both worked at places where you can't do that. You're not empowered to do those things. And does it mean you're going to be perfect on everything that you do? Of course not. We know that, right? But we also know that taking away the ability to make a decision is not great at the line of scrimmage, is not great for the client, because the client suffers there. And so, we again hire smart people, hire experienced people that are making those decisions, right? So if you've got somebody that's got 6 months of experience making a decision, they're not going to get the same quality of decision that Courtney would make, which is why it's so important for us to do what we do. But, for Pinnacle to be able to be a $120 billion institution in 9 states, and to still operate like a local community bank, I would not want to start a bank and try to compete with that. Because where are you going to find the people to take care of the people that you want to serve? I mean, it's going to be really hard to do that.
And the Courtneys of the world will say no more than twice. Try to recruit.
Yeah. I just think it would be hard to recruit somebody from the culture and what I would call the family that we have. It's just going to be hard to do that.
Well, I'm always into slogans. I do a creative writing program twice a month in 2 different libraries in Davidson County. So I'm always coming up with slogans. So you are the hometown friendliness with the global abilities.
Yeah.
And, with this merger this month, the ability to put big loans together, big financial packages together, which had the abilities pre-December 31st. But today, with this joining together, you're on the one hand dealing with the person who may need a $50,000 line of credit, and then on the other hand, somebody who is putting together the redevelopment of a major facility. You have that ability. We would be remiss if we did not at least ask 2 expertise people in banking to kind of give an overview of the financial banking world today on interest rates. And I know, Ronnie, you and I have talked about this before. Every time there's a demand for reduced prime rate, interest rates national, I immediately think, and it's maybe rather selfish, I immediately think the negative impact that has on seniors who are putting the resources into CDs, and, even with a 4% or up to the 5% we experienced, that was a far cry from the 0.1 return we had several years ago. So, and I really would hope that the comments made nationwide would say somewhere there's a balance between consumption and investor interest, and the lower it is, the more opportunity it is, versus the fact is how many seniors or people living on a fixed income, they need not be seniors, how many are depending upon that interest return to put food on the table.
Yeah, I think where I start in that conversation is, while Pinnacle's been around for 25 years, Cavalry Bank, which is the institution that Pinnacle acquired when they came to Rutherford County, it would have celebrated, I think, 75 years this year. And so, in that, you've got a legacy, a Cavalry legacy institution that brought lots of clients as part of that 28% market share that we have currently. And so I see a lot of fixed rate instruments come through. We negotiate a lot on CDs and money market rates for clients that are there. And to your point, everybody is rate sensitive. Those who are on fixed income are more rate sensitive because, a quarter point may make the difference in a buying decision that they make in terms of groceries or medicine or different things like that. And so, we're very aware of that, and we have very experienced people who those people trust. They have long-standing relationships with them. And so, I think what I tell people, and when people ask me questions about this, is you can't plan any plan that plans short term is probably not a great plan long term. And what I mean by that is some sort of diversified plan, both in terms of the risk that you take versus the return that you correspondingly will get with that, is important. But it's also important to have age as a consideration in terms of the investment, the age of those investments. And so a really healthy mix of short-term and long-term and intermediate stuff is the answer to that most times, because it smooths the averages.
We'll be right back before we have concluding comments with our wonderful guests, Ronnie Martin and Courtney Chavez from Pinnacle Bank.
Thank you.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
At Maples Realty and Auction, we handle traditional sales, auctions, and property management. And we have a development called The Maples with local builders and amenities. I'm Betsy Maples, and this is our team. It's our people. That's the difference. Call us today and let us help you get your property sold.
I refer a lot of clients to Maples Realty when we have real estate issues that are coming up. Working with Maples has been easy for me, easy for my clients.
Put our 57 years of success to work for you. Sold!
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
This is Craig Buckner with Mills Family Pharmacy.
Customized services.
We call it Happy Hiney Cream for a diaper rash.
To meet your needs.
We make that in our lab.
Custom medications.
For women's health, we specialize in hormone replacement therapy.
Specifically for you.
Compounds for weight loss.
Mills Family Pharmacy offers a wide range of compounding.
The liquid, suppository.
All to create medications for you.
We can flavor medications. We offer medical grade supplements.
Next to Toots on South Church at Veterans Parkway.
Discover hidden treasures at the Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street in Murfreesboro. Whether you're searching for stylish clothing, sturdy furniture, or even large appliances, we've got them all at prices that you'll love. But here's the best part. 100% of your purchase supports Greenhouse Ministries, serving over 70 families a day. Your shopping dollars go straight back into the community, making a real impact. Shop smart and give back at the Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street in Murfreesboro.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Kraus, final moments of the WGNS Radio Roundtable Thursday morning edition on a cold morning, but warm hearts throughout Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. Always like to ask people, we're in the beginning of a new year. There's always an optimism of the new year. How do the two of you see the new year, not only from your own roles at Pinnacle and the roles of growth, development of Rutherford County and surrounding areas, but can you make predictions of what we'll be talking about in January 2027?
Predictions. That has never been something.
Or hopes.
Bold. Make very bold predictions.
Goals.
Honestly, I hope we're talking about the success of Pinnacle and conversion into becoming a wonderful regional organization that is taking care of clients, that still has the friendly approach that you spoke about at the beginning of this radio conversation, and even a more elevated scale. So that's my hope and bold prediction.
Yeah, I think what I would add to that is we've talked a little bit about losing some folks to retirement that have been very, very successful and key to our success at Pinnacle. We're going to have an opportunity, Courtney and I and the rest of the client advisory team at Pinnacle, to sort of retool and rebuild what we want that team to look like for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years. And so it's going to be a really fun opportunity to sort of handpick some of those team members to come in and help kind of carry the load and continue the legacy of success that we've had.
I've been teaching political science many years. And I have to say this without reservation, without exception, that this is the most good time, unpredictable time, dynamic time to be considering domestic and international life and so forth. But there's one point that Pinnacle has, and I'm sure the other banks do too, but I rely on them tremendously from another hat I wear as the investment advisor to the Women's Club of Nashville, and Pinnacle is our primary banker. But the ability to provide domestic and global information, predictions, data for the small as well as the large business person, for the individual client, the amount of information of how do we make decisions in 2026? Do we expand? Do we grow? Do we pull in and see what happens internationally, domestically? How do we make decisions? And I think it's a whole element that the banker friend or the financial friend, as we identified before, is somebody that Pinnacle fits the role dramatically of helping us make decisions, not doing the decisions for us, but giving us the positives of whether to grow, expand. A business may be, and you were in small business here a while back, and you're doing very successfully in a particular location. Do you decide to open up a second location, or do you expand your existing location? Do you let the competition grow while you sit back and wait for the birds to land on the bird feeder?
Yeah.
The whole point of being a partner of information. And if we didn't operate by objective, correct, timely information, we're going to fail. We're going to fail. And if there's anything that I teach, it's the fact of know your information, know it's correct, know it's timely, know it's data proven and what have you. And even, I didn't even ask you this before, AI at Pinnacle, how we work those out and so forth.
It's interesting to that point. Part of what is attractive about the Synovus merger to us in terms of what 2026 and beyond looks like for Pinnacle is all institutions that do provide financial services, you're always finding a balancing act between what you invest in technology and outdated technology and how you keep up with that from a client expectation standpoint. And one of the things that is going to come out of the Synovus merger is we're going to get an upgrade in some of the systems that we have, which we think will be very beneficial to our clients, and specifically on AI. We are not Pinnacle today. Legacy Pinnacle was not very invested in that in terms of integrating that in our technology. In contrast, Synovus has an AI department, and they have 6 people that work in that department. And so it's just another example about how important it is to keep up with the advancements in technology and what that larger scale of the merger will allow us to do in terms of delivering what clients expect from a technology standpoint.
But I guess you have to make the comment that the balance between technology and the human spirit
for sure
must be maintained. Just
Absolutely.
ask the clients nationwide of Verizon yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And, of course, I'd like to have you back in another few months with
Sure.
updates.
Love to come
and
back.
so forth. But Ronnie Martin, certainly Ronnie is a legacy of Murfreesboro as his role on the city council, and most hopefully that's in the back of his head somewhere down the line as he goes. And welcome, certainly, Courtney, on your newest role, your newest position. And first of all, and I guess I have to say this, best phone number to reach you.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not doing email, not doing
Absolutely.
text.
Would be my cell phone number, 615.
Oh, whatever you want people to call. Oh, take that again.
Yeah.
All of you, run to you, get a piece of paper to write this down one more time.
Yes, my cell phone is 615-485-6940. That's the best contact.
And just say, Courtney, good morning.
That's absolutely. Send a text, say hello.
I heard you on WGNS, and I have something I need you to help me with.
Yes, let's make this banking transaction fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important. You know, the show just before us was dealing with how to improve your plantings and garden and yard and so forth. This is just a sequel. How do you improve your life and your financial direction?
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to seeing you come back and visit us again.
Likewise. Thank you for the invite.
Have a great, great week ahead. Stay warm. Bye now.
Subscribe to Big G TV. Local content that matters to